Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of the Down Round Christmas Spectacular. I don't know what date it is. I don't know which number this one's going to come out as, but it's great to have you listening along. If you don't know what the Down Round Christmas Spectacular is because we're very generous. Instead of playing reruns throughout the year, we record 6, 7, 8. We don't know how many episodes in one day. And then we put them out for several weeks. We bring in our favorite guests and friends and part of the Down Round family. And this is one of those episodes. So
exactly.
Again, can't fully explain exactly the context, but I would assume it's somewhere between Christmas and Jan 15.
I mean, yes, that's a very wide estimate. It'll be early Jan, I think.
You can fact check us on that. Mark removed the little fuck up and what I'm saying right now. Not you. That's our producer.
You've got a producer. Is he in Perth, is he?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, he's in Perth. It was perfect for the time difference because we can finish.
Ah, right. Okay. I thought you guys would go like sort of a more down market, like Bangladeshi podcast.
Yeah,
producers.
we should actually.
You should get real cut rates for
Mark,
that.
don't listen to this. But I reckon that there is a guy in Bangladesh who will do it for a fraction of what we're paying you.
But there's some nuance, you have to capture. But we can talk about this episode. We have a guest, also called Mark, who's
Different guy.
He's been on the podcast
Multiple
like
times.
4 or 5 times.
This is my third time.
Third appearance.
Yeah.
Goddamn. It's
You
Mark.
sure it's third? I think it's fourth.
Maybe it's 4. I think I only said yes to this because I want to retain my title as
number one
of most recurring guest.
Yeah.
Dixie's had a few.
And Becky's had a few.
Becky's had a lot. Nolan's had a couple.
I think he only had one.
Okay. No, I think
No,
you're well in
I
the
think-
lead.
I think-
Cam's had a couple, but
Cam, yeah.
co-host.
Yeah, well, that might be worth
Cameron
two.
Wilson's
Sorry,
had-
I'm glad you're on. Yeah.
I just want to be in the Rushmore. I just want to be top 4.
I think you're in the Rushmore. So we have Mark Di Stefano, the Rear Window columnist at the Australian Financial Review.
Yes.
Yeah, we are outside of this podcast, me and Mark are enemies.
Yeah. Frenemies.
But we work for rival business financial publications.
Okay, as a third person here, like rival insofar as, do you think that like the customer, the discretionary spend is like, oh, I better give up one of my 2 subscriptions.
Probably
this year,
not.
Capital Brief or AFR?
Probably not. But, as Mark can attest, when you're inside the bubble,
Yeah.
it has to be total war.
But the joke I have with a few of my colleagues is that I've joined the Death Star, and like the Financial Review is the gorilla in the room with regards to financial and political media.
Correct. Yep.
And so with insurgents like Capital Brief,
Yep.
where Mr. Hennessy works,
Yep.
we should be as supportive as possible to create a flourishing media ecosystem into the future. That's what I have to say.
People can onboard through Capital Brief. They can be like, I'm not really interested in this stuff, but I heard this great podcast and I'm going to subscribe. And now they're like, whew, I want more of this.
Yeah.
I wanted something a little more bitchy.
But I think exactly a bit more sparky. There's a concept that myself and a few friends talk about CGEs. Have you talked about CGEs before? Comparative generational equivalence.
No.
So your CGE is the type of person who you've like grown up alongside, and
Okay.
you're roughly the same age. You work in the same industry. You probably have the same ambitions and the same goals.
Sure.
And so one of my CGEs is probably Hennessy.
Yeah,
Wow.
right. Yeah.
It's like your secret rival that you and your friends compare yourself to. Like, oh, well, Hennessy's doing really well. Mark's not doing really well this year.
Interesting.
That sort of thing.
Yeah,
So who
yeah.
would your CGE
Yeah, who's
be,
your
Raph?
CGE, mate?
I'm actually panicking. I've never even thought about this as a concept. I'm way too all over the place.
Yeah, no, you work in too many different spaces.
I work all over the place.
Like Cam Wilson is another person who's like roughly a CGE of mine because he's a digital only journalist. He's a few years younger than I am, and he worked at BuzzFeed when I went to BuzzFeed UK. So, and he's now at Crikey doing really, really good work.
I guess my CGEs are people who like also founded startups who failed.
Yeah, like who?
Well,
But is Tim Doyle your CGE?
no, because he's successful.
Yeah, well, he's doing really, really well.
But like,
That's not relevant. If he's your CGE, he's just winning.
That's the whole point.
I'm not like, oh, I'm comparing myself to Tim Doyle. Like, I'm like, he's killing it. They're doing a great job,
Yeah,
and I admire what they do.
he is a unicorn.
I'm now like, doing contract work for big tech. You know, it's very different, right?
It is, but it's kind of, and that's the thing. A CG is like a silent comparison that people do in their heads about you. So you might not think that he's your CG.
Well, what are you doing, Mark,
but
with me? Who are you comparing? You comparing me to Tim?
I 100% am. Like, I think like...
Congratulations, Tim.
Yeah, he's won that handily.
But you could still come back. You could
Thanks, mate.
but you could start a unicorn.
Mate, your CG is Bill Gates.
But also,
I guess Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, you know, there's that.
No. So Bill Gates' CG was 100% Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs,
yeah, of
right?
course.
So
I say, Jeff Bezos and Zuckerberg, yeah.
No.
I don't think so.
You don't put him?
No, it's generational, right? So
Might be
it would be
Jack Dorsey.
I reckon it's Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos because they're roughly the same age too. And they're now doing the space thing. They're now getting involved in
Yeah,
AI.
that's true.
I
Yeah,
do
that
think
makes more
I
sense.
think
That
it's
makes
a
more
latter
sense.
age thing. Yeah.
It's got to be age stuff. Yeah. Well, Zuckerberg's
It's part of your
cleaned
cohort.
up quite
And
a
also,
bit.
I guess America's a bit different. Australian media is
a
small
tiny
enough
place.
that there's
Yeah.
only a few people that can possibly be competitors.
Okay. I just haven't...
I would hate to be going toe-to-toe with Bezos if someone was putting me in the
Oh, that'd be a
States.
lot of L's. Yeah, for sure.
I think Bezos has had a good year.
but he's getting crushed by Elon.
But Amazon is getting crushed at the moment.
Well, and Amazon's getting in trouble, but also like from a one-to-one, like he's doing Blue Origin, he's launching rockets, you know, he's nowhere near SpaceX.
No, and Elon's been doing some like congratulatory posts. I don't know if you've seen. But
No,
Elon's
I
done a
haven't
few,
blocked.
like, you blocked Elon.
I blocked Elon years ago, and it's fine. You know, I still know what he's up to because, like,
Yeah.
the
It's
real
covered.
crazy shit or whatever,
It's
or the
co-
like,
it just-
interesting things come through. But I've had Elon blocked on Twitter forever.
But Elon posts congratulatory messages when Blue Origin does something big. Like they've done something.
They launched a
He's like
rocket.
amazing. He's like amazing. You're helping in this mission to make
That's real, like,
humanity
little bro stuff.
It's real. Like, good on you, mate. You're not doing as well as us, but you're contributing to the general mission.
I think he's so Bezos has had the wedding of the year, and then
In Venice, right?
and he's-
2025 retrospective, wedding of the year.
Yeah, wedding of the year, and then he does. Washington Post isn't doing very well. Like, there's a lot of like serious journalists that have been leaving that sort of sinking ship. There was a conversation. There was some rumors going around the time of the wedding that he was going to buy Vogue. He was going to buy Condé Nast.
Yeah.
Because Mrs. Bezos appeared on the front page, on the front cover of Vogue, and everyone was like, well, Anna Wintour is leaving and she's made the trashy decision to put Mrs. Bezos on the cover. This could only mean one thing.
Yeah.
I think if Bezos got his hands on like some of the greatest brands in the history of magazines and cultural writing, which is the New Yorker, Vanity Fair, Vogue, we may as well just give it all away. Because the Condé Nast family has done a very, very good job keeping it away from the sort of grimy hams of big tech.
Yeah, but I mean,
think
that's
it's really
like
sad.
that's like a privately owned, right? Like that's
Yeah.
like a rich family.
Yeah, it is. And I think that for decades, the media has almost existed at the graces and whims of rich families or, press barons or whatever.
Yeah.
And the new age of tech bros out of Silicon Valley, they actually don't really understand journalism, capital J journalism.
No, they don't.
just think it's another way to influence the culture. They don't care for, objective, fact-based investigations that are in the public interest.
Well, I'd go a step further and say they just don't get it. The
that's
fact
it.
that
I
there's
mean-
a magazine with like Architecture's Digest or whatever it is that people just want to buy and look at.
Look back when Bezos bought the Washington Post, it was a completely different era of tech and media and everything. It was a big thing. He was like, oh, media is a really big part of the democratic process. I want to preserve that and whatever. But you really had the vibe that he was like, I've achieved all this stuff with Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the usual next step that happens when you're a really rich guy in American history? You get involved in the media. Like there's almost like a philanthropic vibe to it.
This is the weird thing with, sorry to cut you off, but the weird thing is also like, yes, I agree. I see what you're saying. It's like, yeah, you get into the media and you start affecting, but like, what is Bezos's opinions? Other than like vague neo-lib, regulation on big tech.
Actually, it's not even vague. It's very specific. Super anti-union.
Yeah.
But like,
Pro-action on climate change, but like rational pro-action on climate
but you know
change.
what I mean? This
So
isn't like someone who must be passionate. Are you passionate about that?
But here's the thing,
I
right?
think he is.
I
think he has driven Amazon to be I think it is the largest employer of people in America. And he lost the fight to have unions in his workplace. And he made some really cogent explanations about American exceptionalism at the Deal Book conference recently. And it very much is about risk. He would run the US like a startup, right? Like he would, And it would leave people behind, but he thinks that is a noble goal.
Run US like Amazon.
Yeah, run you 100%.
Yeah.
And I reckon he 100% agreed with all the Elon Musk's Doge crap around cutting the federal government down to the size of a thimble. I also think if you think about the old media, new media clashes, like this year was also the one where the Wall Street Journal did their big investigation into Epstein and Trump. And Trump obviously threw his toys out of the pram and made public that he went to Rupert Murdoch and was like, you've got to stop this. Yeah. And Rupert Murdoch's like, I can't stop this. This is my new... The Wall Street Journal, as much as you think that I have the final say, and he kind of does, he sort of stood back, as did Lachlan, and let Emma Tucker, the editor of the Wall Street Journal, go ahead and do this stuff. So then he sues Wall Street Journal for $10 billion or whatever it is. And the new right in America, like you have the old right in the Rupert Murdoch kind of conservative foundation right, and the new right, which is just so anti any type of transparency or journalism or anything. They can't even understand why Rupert would be not fiddling and trying to stop this sort of stuff. So I think that the Bezoses, the Elons, the Zuckerbergs, to me, they're just so craven with regards to what they're willing to go with at the time. I mean, remember Zuckerberg after the 2016 election was all about getting the Russian bots off the platform and making sure this was Bezos, when he first took over the Washington Post, that was the democracy dies in darkness stuff.
I mean, this is the big thing. I think Bezos underwent a kind of similar process that Elon Musk did, where he got a little bit red-pilled throughout COVID,
As we all did.
If you had multiple billions of dollars, many people were red-pilled by COVID. Because you're right, when he had the Washington Post, Democracy Died and Dies, he was very clearly anti-Trump. And I think he's not thrown himself into it to the same degree that Elon Musk has, obviously.
Yeah.
But, he had that big internal memo where he suddenly was like, the Washington Post is all about free markets. That's like our major focus is going to be about enabling American entrepreneurialism and free markets. And they have twisted themselves a little bit in that direction. They've kept some of like the socially liberal baggage along with that, but that's like their thing now. So now Bezos is kind of like trying to triangulate himself into a zone where it's like, where I am anti-Trump, it is like on the basis that he is not
free market
enough. He's a tariff guy, He's trying to find that weird little triangulation zone he can do it.
But Trump has an incredible ability to embarrass these people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like as soon as they make these pivots and suck up to him, he's then will turn around and do something crazy or mental, and whether that's Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai,
or genius.
Or genius. I mean, that's the one defining feature of the tech sort of oligopoly class in America is that they will suck up to power. And
I mean, those pictures of obviously like literally every big tech CEO in a row,
the front row,
like at dinner with Trump is times have changed.
My enduring thesis, and it lives to this day, is that the current like tech elites are like the most ineffectual, shitty elite that we've ever had, right?
What do you reckon is the most effective, best elite in world history?
I reckon even moving slightly
back. Go back to Florence and the Medici.
No, if I'm going to be honest with you, I think if you just look at the fucking scoreboard, the most effective elite are probably the Chinese mandarins because they ruled for like 1,500, 2,000 years.
What's your favorite elite, Raph?
My favorite elite. Ooh, I mean, building a damn pyramid is pretty
good. The Egyptians, that was
pretty good.
Especially after you die and they have to keep building it. Like, that's...
So the pharaohs in like 5000 BC.
Yeah. The pharaohs were good. I mean, I actually...
But like, if we think of modern history, though, even going back as far as like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, we look at the Satcher and Nadellas of the world and whatnot, these people who kind of inherited companies. And the same is true, I guess, like of Andy Jassy, or all these inheritors of companies. Obviously, Tim Cook at Apple, like they don't have the gravitas of the founders.
Well, that's true, but it's also
so they don't get to. So, that's why they have to do the political machinations because they got there in the first place by being good politically. If you're a lead-on CEO, literally the thing you did is like political machinations to get yourself into that situation.
Because but that generation, your Bill Gates, your Steve Jobs, your whatever, they had no political power. They didn't even attempt.
Yeah, but they have gravitas. Well, did Bill Gates not? You're probably getting into interesting water here.
You do. I mean, the mosquitoes and etc.
You're talking about bed nets,
like that kind of shit. Stuff, yeah, that's fine. But like in America, if you're trying to think like who was the most effectual elite, you would think like the Eastern establishment of the 20th century. Right?
Yeah.
Like these industrial figures who built the railroads, created like the New York financial economy.
Yeah, J.B. Morgan,
These guys,
Rothschilds,
they were a
Rockefellers.
proper aristocracy. They sent all their kids to fucking Harvard and Yale. They were replicating. They did all this sort of shit.
I didn't know Downrun was so pro-WASP.
I'm not pro WASP.
No one's saying pro anything.
The
I'm
WASP
saying it's good.
East Coast establishment
Yeah.
pro-WASP.
Okay. Let me.
But they won the Civil War.
You're going back that far.
Well, they did because like the alternate elite during the Civil War were like the Southern plantation class. They crushed them.
Yeah, but no,
they won.
What about the Bushes and whatnot? I guess they're waspy. But like,
They were the Bushes were
Here's
waspy.
what I think. Here's what if you want to think of someone as like a powerful elite, you need to think about them ordering a hit job.
Could
The current elite.
Elon Musk?
I don't even think Elon could order a
I
hit
don't think
job.
he could.
No, exactly.
And he wouldn't
But
have
he's not saying ordering a hit.
He also wouldn't have the stones for it.
Right.
I actually don't think Elon Musk would order a hit.
Like Sam Altman would have already died in a strange car crash already.
Well, that's the thing. When there was that whole,
That ain't happening.
Not yet.
Maybe I've spent too much time online. I could see Gates doing it.
But also, can I say, Sam Altman was it the focus? And I'm going to get the story. Like the contents of the story are basically someone at OpenAI committed suicide.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And there is a conspiracy pushed by people like Elon who hate Sam Altman
And Tucker
that this was a Sam Altman type hit.
Yes.
And then there's also a conspiracy around Sam Altman's sister.
Yes.
I reckon some of the elite are getting they're getting their knives sharpening for Sam Altman.
I agree.
I reckon.
Because, Tucker Carlson apprehended Sam Altman on his podcast where he was like pushing that conspiracy that they killed this guy. And my big objection to it was like, I just don't think Sam Altman has it in him.
Yeah, it doesn't have the stones.
I totally don't.
I don't think he has it. Like, again, this old American elite, they were capable. Like, I'm sure, like, there are bodies buried there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bill Gates personally could, but certainly.
So obviously, this is a comedic podcast at Christmas time, by the way.
But I reckon it's like JFK's father, right? Famously, like, had the juice.
Joseph Kennedy had the fucking juice.
The Bushes.
The Bushes. These guys, again,
this is a comedy podcast.
but George Bush Sr., he was at the CIA. He knows where the bodies are buried.
He buried some of the bodies.
Joseph Kennedy was like, I can't be president, but my children
son
certainly
can.
can. And he made that fucking happen.
Yeah.
Including with probably
Teamsters Mafia.
With
some ballots.
With whatever happened.
The ballot box stuck. Again, I look at all this stuff and I go, you, Mark Zuckerberg, you, Elon Musk, you, Jeff Bezos, all these guys.
Their hands would be shaking.
No, but you have.
Can we do something about him, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Imagine Elon Musk trying to order a hit. I'd be like, this guy's he's a
Coming down on ketamine or coming up on ketamine?
Yeah, I don't know. He's a problem. I don't know. Like, they have more power than anyone in modern history, right?
But,
we are all peasants toiling on their fields.
Yeah.
But could they actually make it fucking happen? I don't know if they could.
Whereas, like, again, maybe this is it's a purely Western phenomenon, I would say, because I don't know, you head to other parts of the world, and some of their billionaire class could.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly. Go back a bit. Do you think the Ottoman Empire were worrying about
the Department of Justice coming and serving them a subpoena?
No, they didn't.
Exactly.
It's the same effect of like Trump. It was like we stand certain leaders around the world.
No, exactly. But
because they like even Trump. Has he got the juice?
I think that Trump is so much in it for himself, and he's got all these like little minions, the Stephen Millers of the world, Hegseth, the Secretary of War now, that like he just
they'll blow up a Venezuelan boat.
Correct. So
But,
they'll
like,
like
that's
commit
different.
extrajudicial murder on the seas, and then they'll sort of have to come up with a justification for what they're doing, and they're probably by the time this comes out, there may even be regime change in Venezuela, right?
I don't reckon.
You don't think so?
We're going to have a predictions episode later. I'm going to put it down.
we'll put it down for Venezuelan regime change.
No, I'm going to say
you put it down a no.
negatory from
All
my
right.
perspective. But anyway, but fair enough, Mark.
No. All I'm saying is
It's not out of the
it's
realm.
not out of the realm
possible.
of exactly. But I don't think Trump has ever had the wherewithal to go, oh, this is too far, or will overstep a line with regards to like an old school hit on a political enemy. I think he would condone it.
He would
100%.
But he's very good at like talking around things. The way that he would attempt to order a hit would be like so vague.
This guy's an issue. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Do you remember the transcript or the leaked phone call after the 2020 election? He was caught on the phone talking to like the state official who was counting the votes, and he was like, "Can you just do me a favor and like stop counting the votes?" And that's what it was. And he was like, "No, Mr. President, I can't do it." He's like, "Oh, that's just really disappointing. It would really help me if you stopped counting the votes."
Yeah.
I don't think he's got the tact to make veiled.
No, totally.
It's so obvious what he wants and how he does it that people always try to read subtext. The guy has never seen subtext in his life.
He's super text. He's text.
Super text.
This man
it's
is
all
text. Everything is text.
True. He's a poster.
But
He's
again,
a poster.
coming back to like our tech elite and whatever, and there's like an element where there's like a tech industrial elite who are, JD Vance is fully locked in. He used to be a VC. All these tech guys,
David Sachs in there.
yeah, David Sachs.
Peter
All these guys, Peter Thiel,
of course,
these guys are all in the fucking orbit. But you also look at it and it's kind of like you guys are only here on the fact that because the US economy is kind of in the toilet, you are the only people generating growth. Like you have a lot of sway on the basis that it's purely from the AI bubble that the US economy is not going backwards on the top line figures. That gives them a bit of sway. But I look at it like every time I see any of these people try to engage with politics in any way, and we saw it with Elon Musk when he did all the Doge stuff. And I think even the most like the biggest Elon stan would look at that and be like, that was a failure. We did not get what we wanted out of that.
But then they have the stones to then reframe it as, I don't know if you saw this where they were saying, "Oh, Elon was on a side quest." He away from the main quest. They inject this gamer chat about, "Oh, it was my side quest and I didn't succeed, but I'm back, I'm locked in, doing Tesla and XAI and all that sort of thing." I think the only other thing I would say to that is, I think it's like 4% GDP growth this year in the US, and 3% of that 4 percentage points is AI data center build.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you listen to, the way to listen to the id play out, I don't know if you guys listen to the All In podcast.
As little as I can manage. I check in.
And I'm the same. Like I find it almost impossible to listen to, but then when you do listen to it, you can hear where all of the discourse is starting to bobble up. And they're talking about how, without AI and the data centers, the country would be going backwards. And then like David Sachs was talking the other day about, electricians in these towns are earning $300,000 a year because they're doing these
Join the club, brother. That's been happening down here for a while.
Yeah. But I think you're right. And then there's going to be, if the bubble inevitably bursts, there is going to be so much pressure to do some sort of bailout for the AI companies who've been building this, because they're setting the foundations that this is a national security issue, the AI build out. And that was the whole thing that Sam Altman was saying. He's like, we'll only build this stuff if we can get a federal backstop.
I need to correct the record. Not correct the record, but I need to put my position forward.
What's your position?
I'm not convinced that we're going to have a genuine bubble pop for the record. I want it to be noted. I think that some companies will blow up, and one of those may be OpenAI, and that may then logically lead to the entire economy blowing up. Sure, granted. But like, I don't necessarily think there's going to be like a bubble pop and a mass correction.
What I do think, though, I agree with you. I agree with you. It's entirely possible that this rolls on. And
a slight deflation. Certain companies go under. Oracle goes down. OpenAI and maybe a lot of like VCs and stuff and like whatever. But like a kind of a crash, like a 2001. I'm not yet in the camp of.
I agree.
That makes me a pariah.
No, it doesn't make you a bull.
It makes you that sounds very bullish.
I think that a lot of companies are overvalued.
Yeah.
In this context, it makes me a bull.
I agree.
We're not going to have disaster. But the bulls have, in the long term, the scope of the bulls win.
Always. The bulls do win long term. But I agree that it's possible we won't have like a catastrophic .com error correction. It's possible. That's everyone's mental framework for what might happen, and it may not happen like that. I do think that we haven't seen what the quote-unquote AI backlash actually looks like politically.
Yes. Okay. That's an interesting thing to talk about, sure.
Mass unemployment of jobs.
That's not going to happen.
No. But seriously,
let's talk about
if you're talking about a political backlash to AI, what you're looking at is some sort of automation of the white-collar workforce, which probably isn't an engaged voter bloc. Whereas if it starts hitting, if we really do spend out 10 years from now and we start talking about automated truck driving and things like that, and it comes for low wage jobs, the ones that really can become a ginned up voting bloc pretty quickly. Look, I agree with you that it's too early to say on so much of this stuff, and you can actually sound really smart by making the bearish case and saying we're in an AI bubble.
Oh, it's
and all
always
this
more
stuff.
fun to make the bear case.
But also at the same time, it's just like Silicon Valley Bank was a great example of something that just people didn't even realize was a risk.
Yeah.
And then it happened over a weekend in a couple of VC group chats, and they all pulled their money, and then the federal government had to jump in America to stop a massive bank run going across all of the
An
mid-sized banks.
independent bureaucratic arm of the government.
Yes, indeed. But what I'm saying, we don't even know where the pressure point is, I reckon, for what could be a catastrophic event. Honestly, it could be Bitcoin crashing, a run on Bitcoin, and then all the risk
run on gold or
assets.
some weird
Exactly.
shit. For sure.
And,
Yes, that's always true though.
100%. And I would only say that, you're right. That's why you should put your money in an index fund, ETF index fund, and don't touch it for 10 years.
That's the good play. I do think though that we are going to see, and everyone is focusing on the Labor displacement, which is going to be part of the recipe, but I actually think that we're going to see a measurable AI backlash in electoral politics that is like a response to the vibe. A, there's the
People hate
my
it.
job is coming. B, there's the slop vibe.
Yeah.
C, there's the same thing that has kicked off the Australian
Granola riots.
No, not the granola riots. Not the granola riots.
Where are we going with this, Raph?
They're fucking underage. The teen social media ban.
Okay, that's a great example.
There's social stuff. People get. There's stories fucking everywhere about people having.
People do seem to not like AI in a visceral sense. So
People don't-
Isn't the same with mobile phones. or whatever.
I actually think there is a backlash vibe that's against just the total vibe of AI. But my thing is that I think there are going to be politicians that definitely emerge in the US, probably emerge in Australia, who say, I don't like this. You don't like this, just for this dislocating feel that it gives you. And I'll be interested to see how that plays out.
So I disagree with both of you. Even though I'm the shoot from the hip guy and the vibe guy.
That's right. This is you shooting from the hip.
I was about to say, aren't all three of us shoot from the
That's true.
There's no. We're not.
But I shoot.
We're
Man.
not grounding this in
I'm only
research,
moving that
mate.
there 'cause
This is pure vibe.
You guys might have researched this extensively.
I did not.
No. I think that yes, there is a bit of that, but honestly, most people, at least that I speak to vaguely, even normal people find AI generally useful. I think that the whole the revolutionary wave of people rejecting AI and that leads to political uprising and movement, I don't buy at all. I don't think people care about anything enough, let alone AI, which at the end of the day, when it comes to voting preferences, it's a long way down your stack.
No, I agree. I agree with that. But I think
Don't get me wrong. There is a vibe that isn't.
I feel like
captured by
I feel like we're going to feel it. It's not going to be the number one issue, but I think it'll be
we'll
measurable.
feel it, and people talk about it. And B, on the economic point of people losing their jobs or whatever, this happens constantly throughout history. People in certain industries no longer are able to be effective. The money doesn't disappear. It doesn't disappear from the economy. It's redistributed around the economy. People find other jobs are created. GDP stays at basically the same rate. It's not like we're removing money from the economy or being completely inefficient or whatever. I'm on the nothing ever happens kind of.
Yeah. Oh, you're a nothing ever happens guy.
Things happen slowly. I'm in the
right.
things happen slowly. This is the most boring camp.
I know.
This is the thing. People think that I'm the shoot from the hip guy. Basically, my position is always it's not going to be as cool or as extravagant or as interesting.
No,
as we hope.
I vaguely agree with that.
Well,
yeah.
that's not true. It always ends up interesting, but you have to look back over a 10, 20
It takes
year
a while
horizon
for
and go,
things to get interesting.
Same
I
with
agree.
social media, because social media, as you say, did lead to a backlash where we have a social media ban in Australia. That's taken 20 years.
Yeah, and I think that the normie view on the social media ban is really instructive, that it's so different to the conversations that happen online on places like Twitter, is that everybody who has children is oh yeah, man, we love the social media ban.
Yeah.
Ban it. And then everyone's there are people trying to inject into the discourse, this is, harrowing way for, a chilling effect on freedoms. And it's actually, Australians, when it comes down to it, they love banning shit. We love to ban stuff.
That is also a unique quality about Australia, is that
Australia, I'd say the Scandies have a
the
similar.
Scandies do, but there is a baseline understanding, and there has been in Australia for 200 years, that if something is bad, the government will fix it.
Yeah.
And not only will fix it, like they are obliged to do something. Whereas in the US, it's the opposite.
US is the opposite. In the UK, you have similar sort of thing with a largening sort of public state apparatus. And I think it is a bad thing in Australia that whenever we have an issue that is really tough on normal people, we say, let's ban it. And the government moves quick. And then a great example of one that, is clearly a problem, which is gambling and gambling advertising and the 15, 20-year effects it's had on young men and using gambling, sport becoming overrun by gambling. It's the one thing the government can't ban.
Look, I think that's a perfect place to leave it, Mark. Thank you very much. But we are going to keep chatting with Mark. We're going to review the year. We're going to talk about Elon Musk. Honestly, we came into this episode literally was like, what should we talk about with Mark? You know what? Who cares?
Yeah.
We'll just hit record and
it's
go.
It's a silly season. It's Christmas. You're not paying attention.
You figure out what you like, where the heat is in the conversation.
Exactly.
And you go where the conversation leads you.
And we're going to keep doing that, but you do have to pay in order to hear our continue.
Downaround.net. Head over there, subscribe to Downaround Premium. It's worth your money.
Yes, exactly.